thanks to, again, the over 500 subscribers we have so far on our channel. We're about halfway to 1,000 subs, and we need to broadcast our games live this year for Chula Vista football. So please check out our video from yesterday with Spartan legend Gary Chapman. It was a doozy. He's always a great interview, and we could probably talk for hours if he wanted to, but do that when we're done with this video today. And with that said, I want to say welcome to the former head coach of your Chula Vista Spartans, Coach Judd Rachow. Coach, welcome to Spartan Nation YouTube channel. How you doing?
Thanks for having me, man. This is a pretty cool deal that you guys are doing.
We're working on it. It's a process. I told Coach Chapman yesterday I've had to do these videos for my church, so I kind of got better at it. So I guess that's one thing that's come out of COVID. It's been pretty good. So,
yeah.
But as we're getting started today, Coach, I want to say thank you, Coach, to you and Coach Christensen for bringing me on back in the day on Otay Ranch staff, and helping my growth and progression to eventually become a head coach. I know when I came on staff over there, I told you and Lance that my ultimate goal for me was, to eventually become a head coach. And you guys took that information and chose to mentor me instead of push me away. And I just want everybody to know that how much it really means to me and how much I really appreciate you guys for that.
Well, we were lucky to have you, Howard. I mean, it was a nice situation for us to step into, kind of come into a new place and having some people around us to help us, build and grow a program. And you did a fantastic job. We knew it wasn't going to last long. It was going to be a short relationship, but when you get good people like that, you want to see them move on and grow. As much as it kind of stings a little bit because it's hard to find good people. You like to see them do the things they love and move on. So we're very happy for you. We're proud of you, and we were lucky to have you.
I appreciate that, Coach. Now, before we get into the big questions of the day, we got to know one of the easiest questions should be, is 56 power God's
play?
Kevin,
I don't know why you chose me to follow Gary Chapman, because I don't know how good of an interview that's going to be after listening to Big Two talk for a while, man. So, he was a big 56 power guy, and then he had a certain way of calling it, which I can't say on the airwaves, but I tell you what, man, it's something that I think is just a fantastic play. The power play, you can run it many different ways. As you well know, you were a big power guy. But it's just something about that toe up and get after it. It's like football, what football's supposed to be,
Yeah, we've moved
getting after it.
We've moved to spread a little bit over here at Chula Vista, but I cannot get away from power. Power is still a base call for me. When I need a couple of yards, that's we go to God's play. So
and obviously, I mean, it's been really good for us. I mean, I don't think it's any secret we're running power, and luckily we've had some dudes that are good enough to run it, and obviously that makes power work a lot better, So when you have the right guys blocking and the right guys running, it makes power. All of a sudden you're a genius. You're the power guru. But I don't know. I just like the play. I think it's just something about it, something about the mentality of it all that I really gravitate to, and so I would just let you know, expect to see a little bit of power this year.
The great thing about power is we're coming. The question is, can you stop us? That's
absolutely. Sometimes you do. So hopefully we have an answer, right?
That's right. So, Coach, give me a little history. You as a coach and a teacher at Chula Vista High School, when you started, the years that you coached there, and everything else.
Well, it's funny how things work out, how fate kind of works sometimes. I was playing arena over in Arizona, and I get a phone call one day from Joe Hines. We all know who Joe Hines is, former great player at Chula High and played together at San Diego State, great guard at San Diego State. He was out there in spring. It was right before my second season out in Arizona, and he called me and said, "Hey, Coach O," who we all know who Coach O is too. One of the greats. One of the legends all time coaches.
He's on the interview tomorrow with me.
Okay, yeah. I mean, tell him I said hello. Just a great dude. So he asked Joe if I'd be interested in coaching. So Joe gave me a holler and said, "Hey," and that was kind of an honor, really. I mean, coming from somebody of that's had that kind of success, that he was interested in reaching out to me about coming and coaching. And so I said, yeah, I'd love it. It worked out good because our season, even we made it to the semifinals, but even if we made it to the Arena Bowl championship, the season didn't start till after. So after that, we played in Detroit. I got home on a Saturday. We played, I think, Detroit on a Friday, got home on a Saturday, woke up Sunday morning and drove back home. And I started on that Monday.
What year was this?
It was August. I want to say it was August. Gosh, my dates might get bad. It had to be like August 8th, whenever back you did two-a-days, back then. So it'd be August 1993. So that was my first walking on. It was a morning 6 a.m. practice back in two-a-day times. And 20 years later,
Yeah. And you must have loved Joe Hines since you had originally been a Lancer, right? When you went to high school.
I was.
So
I was referred to.
You had some love for Joe to go over and make that move.
Yeah, well, it was interesting. Growing up, my aunt taught at Sweetwater. Oddly enough, for 41 years, my mom worked at Chula High for 35 years, and I grew up. A lot of my growing up, I was proud to be a Hilltop guy. But growing up in those environments and going to the games all the time, I used to go to the Mike. We all know Mike Collins just passed away, great longtime basketball coach. I used to go to his basketball camps all the time. It just was always around, and when we would play against Chula, Gary Chapman and George Ornstein would always come up and give something good words to you and stuff like that. So obviously I knew Joe and just that opportunity, somebody reaching out to you sometimes just. It's funny how reaching out, it'd be funny, Howard. I don't know why this sounds funny, but that cup would be funny if that was like an advertisement. I just thought that'd be great.
Hey,
Try and hold
it. Look at that. I actually got this from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. We drove across country last.
I could just see like one of those, it's one of those placement product placement.
Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. So
yeah, I can see it right
morning,
now.
Folks, we're getting our coffee going.
Yeah, like support folders, you're advertising.
I'm getting better at this. Maybe we can start throwing those in for sure.
So anyway, I showed up, I got there, and then of course right away with myself and Joe, and like a lot of coaches back in the day, they were real instrumental in guiding me, and they got me a job. I started off as a campus assistant down at that Chula Junior at the time. It was still a junior high. And I was a campus assistant there and worked for Larry Perondi, who was a future Spartan principal. But they basically grabbed me by the shoulders and said, "Hey, you need to get into teaching. You need to get into coaching. Let's do this." And so, that started my journey. Went back to school, got my special ed credential, got my PE credential. I worked at the junior high for about two and a half years. And then I had the chance to move, once some things opened up, I got to the high school, I want to say, in must have been the spring of 95 or spring of 96, my bad, spring of 96. I got up there. So, and then never looked back, man. It was great. It was a great time. And so I taught special ed for about 12 years. Then as I was able to get my foot a little bit more in the door at PE, and once I became the head coach, I had the ability to get full-time PE. So that was great. And what a ride. Hell of a ride.
Your staple is still like, our coaching office, it's still like you did a great job of setting that place up and all the memorabilia from the years past. Whether you are now at Chula or you were in the past or whether you started there, you did right by the school while you were there. And you can tell because you left your stamp, especially in that coach's office, which by the way is the best coaching office in the South.
That's an incredible, but I can't take all the credit for that, man. I have to tell you, that office when we first started there, that was their coaching office, but Rex Johnson really did an awesome job when he came in. He renovated that whole thing. He had all them pictures up. I think the one thing I wish I would have done is all the pictures from my years, the head coach, I never hung on the wall. So, so that,
I've actually been thinking the same thing. Like I'm behind right now.
Yeah. So
we're going to be working on getting Rex next week as well. So that's going to be a great interview.
Good. Yeah. RJ was awesome, man. Worked for him I worked for Coach 0 for 1. I worked for Rex for 11. And then, but he took that office and he really made it what you walked into. All I did is try to make sure I didn't screw it up, try to take good care of it.
You did a good job.
We tried to honor past players, honor the guys that went on to the next level. A lot of memorabilia, a lot of history, and it's something that unfortunately maybe a lot of places don't really embrace, but they really did at Chula. They embraced the history and embraced the culture. And I just tried to maintain that best I could,
Well, and that's, one of the reasons, we're trying to get subscriptions on this channel, and that's big, but, but the real main purpose of this is doing exactly what you just said. I'm trying to do my best to, you and I both know, especially in today's day and age, being a head coach ain't forever. And my thing is I want to leave the place better than when I found it. And so I want to do right by the people that have been here before, whether I was a Spartan growing up or not. Same with you. We have some similar situations there. But let's go ahead and move on to the next question here, Coach. How tough was the decision to leave Chula and go coach at Otay Ranch?
Probably the hardest one I ever had to make. You got to figure when I started there, I think I was 24, maybe 24 years old, young, know-it-all coach. Thought I knew everything. Fresh out of playing and the guys that I worked with, Craig Wilson, Joe Hines, Louis Zumstein, Derek Chapman, Gary Chapman, Rex Johnson, George Ornisorgan, Greg Molina, God rest his soul, great defensive line coach, Andy Crosswood. Just guys upon guys upon guys when I got there. And these are guys that I'm still friends with today. Craig Wilson is one of my best friends. We walk a couple days a week. We always talk on the phone.
Shout out to Craig, great AD.
Yeah, awesome. And we've spent a lot of time communicating. But you talk about a place where I was 24 years old, and a lot of us were young. Joe, Chris Larson, Derek Chapman, Greg Molina. A lot of us were young guys. We're all about the same age, coming in, getting started. And then you had Craig and Rex and Dave Hatz. The old Mad Hatzer was around. But the thing that was unique is, through my journey at Chula High. And something that you don't maybe see a lot of today, or maybe, like you talked about longevity, but, we all were at each other's weddings. We were all there for the birth of our kids. We were all there when we bought our first house. We were all there when somebody's parent might have died or something. There were so many events. It's family, it was bigger than coaching. And I always say this, and maybe you can attest this. It's definitely one of those, you got to be there. It's hard to describe the culture and the camaraderie, and we ate lunch every Friday together. We still do. Yeah. That was a big thing. We just don't have as many on-campus coaches as you did back then. Yeah, and we had nutrition break meetings. We ate lunch, every Friday together. It was definitely. I woke up every day, and I was going to work with all my close friends. Who can say that? Guys that I didn't just coach with, but we spent time at each other's houses with each other's kids, watching their kids grow up. I knew Blake's, and McKenna Wilson since they were born. Same thing with Joe's kids.
Coaching in college now.
So. So to be at a place where basically you knew everybody, they knew you, and it was just home. To think about leaving the nest, right? Can always be to the unknown could always be a scary thing. And I think the one thing that, gave me solace is just what I learned at that place. Making my decision to go to Otay, which has been fabulous, by the way. I have to say that I have no regrets at doing that. As much as I love Chula High, that's a big part of me. I still got a bin full of that Chula crap, man. I don't know where to put it, man, but I can't get rid of it. I cannot get rid of it.
Probably got an extra closet just with
Chula. Yeah. I had 21 seasons worth of Chula stuff that I can't get rid of, but it helped me. Sometimes it's just time. It's time to make that jump, and it wasn't just about going to Otay or it was just about having a new start and a new challenge and working with a great coach like Lance Christensen and trying something. It was just time to try something new. I think it was good on both ends, and I love where I'm at now. I love the kids. I love the coaches. It's a great place. As you well know, you were there for a long time.
It is a great place.
So it's a really good place, and I've tried to bring as much as I can from what I learned at Chula High. I've tried to bring that to Otay Ranch and instill some of that sense of character and pride and toughness, and the importance of it. It's nothing better than wearing the blue and white at Chula. It's nothing more than wearing the baby blues and dark blues at Otay. It's that same mentality. Hopefully, I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there. Nothing.
Well, and you're at a younger school. It takes time to build. The identity of the program. And, they had a great head coach to start off there with Alam, but you guys are doing a great job of setting the next stage. So,
So that's the journey, man. It was pretty crazy, from assistant to offensive coordinator for a couple of years to being asked to be the head coach, by Gary Chapman. And you talk about an honor, like, you feel that somebody feels you're worthy of that, following the guys I followed. Talk about a little bit of pressure, and I think the big thing to keep in mind is I'm not Coach O and I'm not Coach Johnson, but I tried to be, I think what we all had in common, we were all Spartans, you know what I mean? So trying to just do
challenge. There is the ghost of Spartan past that
Yeah.
you're trying to live up to, and you eventually just have to do it the best of your ability, and
Absolutely
try to put your own stamp on it as well.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So moving on here, Coach, is there anything like a Spartan pep rally?
None. If you've never been to one, you don't know. And I know that sounds, I don't know if you want to call it elitist or like we know something that you don't, but if you've ever been at a Spartan pep rally, it is unbelievable. And I still in our day, it's like going to a rock concert, man.
It is. It really is. How many times did you do the spirit can over the years?
You know what? I have to tell you, my spirit can was limited because Mr. Ray was the spirit band guy.
True, that's
he was the spirit band guy, and he was go fight, win Spartans and all that. Our role as coach was a lot more getting up there, talking about the game and getting them going. And we'd have a couple chants. We would do SSPAR, all that kind of stuff. But you'd had skits, you had stuff where we would have the coaches involved with the kids. So a lot of staff student interaction, doing certain skits, and there's a couple that were pretty funny. I don't know if you probably get in trouble for them nowadays, but
that's kind of how it's always going to be.
Always, but it's unbelievable. You got blue and white Fridays, and you had to wear blue and white to get into the assembly, and you're talking 2,300 kids trying to get into a gym that holds maybe 1,500, right? Yeah. And we're turning people away because
fire department. You didn't hear that, by the way.
Yeah, we're having to turn kids away though because. Yeah. There ain't enough room, and everybody's wearing blue and white. It was an incredible,
they get fired up.
Oh, it is a big deal, and always decorated to a T. And like I said, I always heard about them. Then once I witnessed one, I was like, holy moly, this is like, you talk about leaving fired up. You get Coach Chapman talking, or, somebody get up there and get the troops going. So it was pretty neat.
All right. Thanks for that, Coach. Yeah, it's been amazing. This COVID season's really killing it, but I can't wait to get back to this next year for sure.
Huge part. That's the thing that I don't know if some people understand is how, important that is to a culture of a school, just building that like this is.
You remember that for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And whether you played the sport or not, being a part of that is history for you. So
and then you get to remember the old morning pep rally. We did that a couple times. The alarm clock pep rallies, and everybody was there. It was huge. And now that those pep assemblies, man, hard to beat, man.
Hard to beat for sure. And just to let everybody know, we had a little technical difficulties. We're back now, and that's the great challenge of technology nowadays, doing this from home, but we're all getting better at it because of COVID. So we're going to move on to our next question. And Coach, who are the top 5? It's a tough question, I know, but who are the top 5 best players you've ever seen play at Children's High?
Now seen play, now not necessarily coached, right? I guess, there's been so many, but I know personally one that I saw a lot because he was playing when I was playing was Darnell Woods was one of the top, the Woodsy, he was like he was like that first hybrid tight end, man. He was a receiver playing tight end, 6'4", probably weighed about, 2 something, but he he's a great athlete, football, basketball. But the Woodsy, he was the one guy, man. He just could make some stuff happen. So Darnell has to be one of them just because I witnessed it, myself there, I know there's some great players, when I was in college, obviously you have the Donnie Edwards of the world and Everett Richardson and Yamas. And there's a lot of guys like that, but I didn't really get to see them play. They're just the folklore guys, that you always hear about people's butt. But, obviously from my era would have been like a Darnell Woods, obviously, from my own coaching, I'd have to say, geez, there's been quite a few. But I'd put Larry Richardson in there, Sweet Pea as a running back. That guy was explosive. He was just dynamite. Richard Hardwick, quarterback, free safety. That guy was just, he had a knack, man. You talk about just being sharp as a tack, super smart guy, and
I love those.
You talk about those guys that, he could make the worst call in the world look like you're just a genius, like look at that, I always kind of compared Puka to him a little bit about that, just that sixth sense, right? But Richard Hardwick, Carlos Santa Maria, middle linebacker, tight end kind of guy, was just a stud. Another 6'4", lanky, could run, could hit, I guess what is that? Aaron Taylor, another receiver that played for us. That was kind of our do everything kind of guy. And I know I'm leaving guys off, that's the crappy part about you asking me 5. Come on, Howard, why are you going to put me in that spot? Dude?
Well, even when you were there, I was teaching there. And
Taylor Julio.
Yeah, Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor Julio, Tommy Totogi. Where do I draw the line? Bo Coleman,
his brother as well. Both the Totogi brothers were really good for you. So
yeah, I mean, that's the one thing you could take, 3 or 4 guys every year. But you talk about guys that just had a special knack. Aaron Taylor, Richard Hardwick, Carlos Santa Maria, Larry Sweet Pea Richardson. Those were some. Matt Stacy, I'm going to throw his little butt in there. He was about 5'5", 120 pounds, and that guy was a dude.
Yeah.
He was a dude, man. And he's going to be on one of the questions. I know you're asking about some of our games. Most memorable games. He was part of one of those. So, if I wish I could name them all, but if you have to give me 5, that's probably it.
No, that's great. And I know one of the toughest dudes you've ever had's on my staff, and Mike Molina. He was tough.
He's another guy. Where do I go? He's one of the toughest SOBs I remember having. Two-way stud, played guard and D at line for us. And you talk about a guy that he had to go through the rough year of 2010. We had we were young. We lost a lot of guys. He wasn't the healthiest kid that year. He had some issues with his feet and some different things. And you talk about coming back as a senior and being a leader. Just 100%, just a dude in my book. And his dad was a hell of a player at Sweetwater.
Yeah,
so.
And he's giving back. Yeah. And he's giving back.
So.
All right. Absolutely. So, let's move on to the next question then, Coach. What was the greatest game you ever coached in at Chula Vista?
Well, once again, Howard.
Giving you those tough questions.
So many awesome, I can recall our last kind of minute win against Mira Mesa. I want to say that had to be, it was Victor's year, so maybe 08 or 07 when we had Big Victor Perez. But 2 that stand out in particular that were just so incredible to be a part of was as an assistant in 1997 when Castle Park was 29-0 in league. They'd had that big streak with Moreno and all those guys. We played them for the league championship at Castle Park, standing room only. It was the games you always heard about growing up, where it was standing room only, and the energy and we beat them 14-7, for the league championship, and broke their streak of 29-0. So that was something. The feeling you get after something like that is hard to describe. And then we went on that year we ended up playing the semis against Vista in the rain in the El Nino Bowl, which there's a picture in the office of that.
Yes.
So
even the picture looks wet. Even the picture looks wet.
You couldn't see across the field. It was unreal, dude. And then the next one was had to be 2008, and we hosted Vista in the playoffs. And even though I think we were the 7, they were the 10, but they were the favored. They were highly favored just because we were South County, they were North County, that whole kind of thing. But we were down and we ended up coming back, and I don't recall everything. It was kind of a blur, but we got the ball back and we go down and we're driving and we end up running this. We always used to run 58, 59 toss, and we tossed it to Matt Stacy, and we had Mohammed Zaidan. I want to say it was a guy who came down to just the block of the century from like our backup Z, down blocks crack. Nick Parisi pulls around, boom, it opened up like the floodgates. We go down and score, win the game. So, and then
current players, you need to hear what he just said. A guy who wasn't even supposed to be in there made the block of the century. You got to be ready when your bell.
And I'll tell you this. The play before that, here's the kicker. The play before that was 4th and might have been 4th and 3, 4th and 2, something like that. We ran a fake punt and got it. We had Taylor Julio was our up back, and Victor Perez is our quarterback. He was the punter. And what we used to do, we'd motion across, and they'd follow, but nobody ever paid attention to the up back. So we kind of ran a little flood, and Victor threw it, and Taylor made a hell of a catch, by the way, saved our bacon because it wasn't the best throw. And that very next play, we ran the toss and scored the touchdown and won the game. So, it's you can always break a game down to about 3 plays, and those 2 right there.
Yeah.
So, and that was probably one of the, as the head coach, was probably one of the biggest wins I could remember. I mean, there were some great ones, but that was one of those ones where it was just like, unforgettable. I can remember that, and it was great.
Well, thanks for taking us back in the old time machine there, Coach. Moving on to that next question. What advice do you have for me as the current head coach of your old stomping grounds?
I think when we had talked, when you were first going to take the job, is just be you, Howard. I mean, you have, you love the game. You're great with kids, man, embrace it. And I think you have. I said, embrace the culture there, I mean, let that kind of help guide you. I know it helped me, and I was unfortunate enough to be there, 20 years. So it was, when I went in as a head coach, I had a great understanding of kind of what was the main kind of idea behind being a Spartan, and what they talked about, the toughness, the kind of the 5 A's, being good at everything. And, I think for you, it's not the football thing so much as that you embrace the culture and uphold what you're already doing. It's the things you're doing, and you got great alumni over there working for you. I know that. Jimmy Clark and Eddie Ortega, guys that played for me and that are just great kids, great culture, great character, and that toughness. And that's the one thing that was probably the best thing you'll probably ever hear. And I know you've heard it from us, but the best thing I ever heard was head coach was just how our kids play. Not whether you won or lost or you had the best player, was whether we were 2-8 or 8-2, kids played the same. They played with toughness. They played hard. They played, there was something about Spartan football where at the end of a game, them other guys on the other side knew they were in a dogfight and had to buckle up chin straps. So I think that's the one thing coming away that I think I was the most proud of anyway, is that people really took notice to how we played the game, and we were physical, we were tough, never gave up, never quit, whether you're up or down. So, and I think that's how you coached. I mean, when you were at Otay, you coached the same way. So I think you're bringing that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that, Coach. We're gonna go ahead and finish up here. So here's what my question for you: is there anything you have to say to any of your former players or Spartan Nation in general as we finish up today's interview?
It was an honor. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, we talk about it. I talk about it. It's a huge part of my life, a huge part of who I became, as a coach. And I think as a human being, I mean, I had a lot of awesome people, whether they were, mentors, teachers, administrators, people that cared enough about me, like Gary Chapman, George Warnes Oregon, to take you under their wing and teach you, and then not being afraid to tell you if you did something wrong or that you don't know it all. Rex Johnson, called me in the office one day and let me know, hey, you don't know everything, learn, take the time. And as far as my players, man, Chula Vista High isn't nothing without the players. That football program, any of our records, whether it's your record, my record, that stuff is not as important as it,
Not ours. They really belong to the kids. We're just trying to help facilitate them to be the best that they can be.
And there's kids. Josh Godia is one of them. He was the first quarterback I got to coach, and I was probably the hardest on him than anybody, but one of the best kids, toughest kids there, 5'7" quarterback that took us to a league championship. So, just a stud as a human being, but it's those kids that really shaped me and taught me stuff too. Maybe things not that I just did right, but there's things I wish I could go back and do different too, as far as, maybe listening more.
That's that's a week to week thing there, Coach.
Yeah.
We made a call last week that we shouldn't have made.
I want to thank everybody, at Chula High, the former players, former admin, parents, for trusting me with their kids and giving me the honor to be called coach. I mean, nothing greater. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this, Howard. This is awesome. Thank you.
Hey, well, I'm really blessed to have you on, Coach, and really appreciate you being here today. And for all the Spartan Nation folks out there, if you played for Coach, do us a favor, because he's going to be looking at the subscribers list and make sure you actually hit that subscribe
Get
button.
on there. Get on there.
Get us to 1,000 by the end of this. But again, thanks for coming on, Coach. We wish you, Coach Christensen, the best of luck this season at Otay Ranch.
Maybe you guys.
Yeah, and we don't play each other, so I don't have to say except for that game. So that's good.
Yeah, of course.
But good luck this season. You guys stay healthy, man. And Spartan Nation, just so you guys know, we're going to be having Coach Onus Organ is going to be coming up here soon. Hopefully by this weekend, we'll have that film up, that video. We're going to have Coach Rex Johnson next week. And as Coach Rachow was talking about, we're going to be doing an alum sit down. We got a lot of guys who played at Chula who are now coaching there. We're going to get those guys as well. So we got a lot to put on the plate for you guys. And hopefully you guys keep watching and get ready for the season as we work towards this weird 2021 COVID season, 5 games. But we're ready to get it going. And, Sweetwater, March 19th, we're looking forward to that. Coach.
Longest rivalry, man. Longest rivalry. Get that helmet. Get that gold helmet back.
We got it in our office right now. We want to keep
Perfect.
it. So.
Perfect.
All right, Coach. Have a great day. Spartan Nation. We'll see you on
Good luck, everybody.